Going, folks. Today I just got back from Sydney. I just did a 2 days trip to Sydney, just visit my old man and everything like that, which I haven't visited him for maybe like 3-4 months. And just have a good catch up with him and things like that. And the previous video that I made is freedom comes with a cost. And what really opened my eyes, and I didn't do much of comparison with New South Wales and Victoria. And I would like to discuss this a bit more. And it's basically like, I know the previous video I did talk about marriages and how people think, there's many factors how they behave that way and everything. And the first thing I wanted to discuss about is the fact that freedom comes with a cost. Now, I did emphasize this topic long time ago, but I'm trying to revisit and try to jigsaw puzzle in a different way. And one of the areas basically is like, yes, Victoria is a lefty woke state, one of the states, same as Tasmania and Canberra in Australia. And you have to understand that fundamental, alright? And myself, who comes from conservative state of New South Wales, or don't think too much of that, and I know pretty much like last 9 years this conservative and lefty has gone really gone crazy in the corporate and as well the education system. But there's a lot crazier in the lefty state is the fact that, yes, you've chosen a country to live in, a freedom country, a better human rights and UN rights and whatever it is, you came to the Western values of the Christian Judo country of Australia. And if I'm hearing the same thing with men, a lot of men, about their wives, and I'm not saying that wives and girlfriends, and I can dig a bit extra more information, is particularly in Victoria, right? Is the fact that if their workplace, their career is determined who they are, right? But if their workplace is working, with nursing or in a hospital field, like medical fields and things like that, or hospital settings, and dominated by women, now obviously they're going to teach each other, and it's normal to them, in every part of Australia, your rights, you should follow your rights, this and that, blah 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 blah. He's treating you bad, blah 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 blah. You should leave, blah blah. Whatever the topic it is, I'm not going to get into details. But when you're in that environment of being lefty, they encourage each other to do this, even though it doesn't seem like this functional to them. But when you have that environment and family members and this and that, it creates a normality upon you. All right, and it is what it is. That's the life that you have to accept, because you've chosen a lefty state, and people will feel more of their rights than family values or whatever, how it is. Like I said, I'm not going to get into too deep of the details of it, but it's just, that is one of the major foundation roots that a lot of the conservative states does not have, right? And when you have like that, it brings family values down and whatever, and in the praise and that sort of setting, and also with the education department and things like that. And that is very important to know. If you move to a state, whatever the reason it is, or you moved there because of a family member, you have to remember, where did you step on? You've stepped on a line, that sort of lefty woke, that sort of society that encourages this sort of stuff, alright, your rights and everything. And obviously, being an immigrant or migrant, we have two options. It's either we play the Australian way or the migrant way. And those who suck it up and play through all the migrant way, it just brings a lot of, you have to suck it up, And unfortunately, there's a lot of factors, in marriage, and especially when I spoke to my father. My brother's going to turn 17 years old. My father's not working. My father's in his early 60s. the wife is a bit younger, maybe 20 or 15 years younger. She's working, she's hustling. It becomes a business transaction now, because marriage is a business, and if you divorce or whatever, what do you get out of it? Obviously there's have to be outcome. And also, with a relationship, they measure in X, Y, and Z. And one of the areas that I spoke to many men and saying that, look, divorce is many factors, but one of the factors is about survival nowadays. Because if we divorce, and let's just say a house being paid off, let's just say $600,000-$700,000, you can get half or more because you have a child. It becomes a survival game, because we tend to live longer, cost of living is very high. And when I had conversation with my godfathers, and how they moved to overseas and they're coming back, they start to realize they have no income or X, Y, and Z. Life is very expensive to live on. And when you have like that, it's about prolong the surviving rate. Us humans back in the days, to live up to 50s or 40s is like you've already achieved it. But nowadays we have like GMO food, and as well medication, surgeries, treatments, and doctors, you name the whole list, to live our life based on the pills or operations, where back in the days never had. And obviously, when you move to a certain age, you obviously want to change or reset or whatever, right? So there's like two of them, the highest divorce. Obviously I can't speak of now, but I know the ones that if the child hits 18 years old and whatever, and they see their child is still adult body with child infantation brain, you don't see really much. And are you going to keep blowing all your money on your kids, or whether you guys decided to divorce and whatever has the money, and then they sort out with the kid and securing the wealth in what way or the other? It's a business transaction. The whole thing is a business transaction. You came to Australia to attend to a business transaction. You put your money, blood in the line on 30 years in a mortgage. It's a business transaction, because back in where they're from, they have 30 years, they have a fixed rate, where this is like, or maybe they don't have interest rate, where here is like, well, we can give you a loan, but you have to sign X amount of years on this house that you purchased. And it's all a business transaction. And that's about life, is a business transaction from head to toe. So there's nothing much I could say here, but to find out a roots that is dysfunctional, and having to start with that la-la land, with the lefty and the woke, this will impact everything and influence in the way, in the wrong direction or right direction, without you knowing, because that was the environment. I wasn't brought up in this environment. I was brought up from New South Wales. And looking back at it now, should I move back to New South Wales? If I ever gonna get married again, I'll have to move back to New South Wales to reduce that sort of dysfunctionality, or this la-la land, this emotional, where promote more of the mindset and conservative, to prolong and just to enjoy the experience, and not to have the quick divorce. At least there's a divorce towards the end, mutual. I wish I could say mutual, but there's never been an easy way to do this. So all I can say is the fact that it's very, very difficult in this area. And I know that it's 42% divorce rate in Australia. You are set up to be divorced, but with the lefty and woke state, it adds it even higher. And I wouldn't be surprised if I do Google now and find out who has the highest divorce rate in state by state. I wouldn't be surprised Victoria is one of the highest. But I understand why New South Wales will be high, because of the cost of living is shooting up the hill, because of the mortgages and things like that. It's very, very expensive. So that's what I can say in that video.